So I am asking your help in the tremendous task of informing and alerting the American people. For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means, on infiltration instead of invasion.
You have all the money in the world, you have all the power you need. What's the point? What's the end goal? He said the end goal is to get everybody chipped, to control the whole society.
Party in the garden, the tower's falling, love in the summertime. Ooh, yeah, yeah. And I'm unified, feeling oh so unified. In the light now, in the light now.
I know he's your friend, but I don't care.
Every day, it's a gift. That's why we call it the best. We were born on the garden of Earth, with flowers growing, little birds chirping. I was in the garden just having a laugh, till I met a monster cross my path. Hey girl, do you want some more true love? I could get you lit up one of two ways. What's it gonna be, man? What's it gonna be, man? Said I felt like the whole world was begging me to rain fire above upon my enemies, till the love washed over me, till I let the love wash over me. Said I forgot the whole world begging me to rain fire above upon my enemies, till the love washed over me, till I let the love wash over me every day. It's a gift, that's why we call it the blessing. Every day. It's a gift, that's why we call it the blessing.
Britney Spears, can we be saved?
We were going in a direction that was irreversible. This was not an election. This was a revolution. This was irregular warfare at its finest. We have what we call citizen journalists. We have an army of digital soldiers. You're here because you've made a decision about something in your life. You can't sit back. You have a responsibility. We must. You have to fight for this country.
He's going to be biblical.
If you know, you know. And to answer that question from the last episode's riddle that I left you hanging with, what does Lincoln, Kennedy, Reagan, and Trump all have in common? They all wanted to end the dark cabal. They all wanted to take out the vampires, the bloodsuckers, the evil of our world. With Lincoln, they went for his head because he wanted them dead. With Kennedy, they went for his head because he wanted to dismantle the CIA, which he also knew was involved in this dark cabal. Then there was Reagan. They made a mistake and went for his heart, and they missed. He too was trying to dismantle the CIA and the FBI and many others. And then Trump, they went back for his head again, and they missed and grazed an ear. And who does he want to take out? All 17 agencies. So good morning, good evening, wherever you are, across the nation and around the world. This is Deja Brew. We are waking you up to truth, one drip at a time. It's time for dark to be turned to light. Welcome back to the show for Monday Madness, Jen.
Monday Madness. This is going to get crazy up in here tonight. Oh, yeah. And I do want to say, I didn't know there were 17 agencies.
Yeah, 17.
Damn. It's my favorite number, girl.
I know, it's my favorite number too. Well, next to 7. I like 7 too.
Yeah. 7's cool.
7's a thing. But yeah, on tonight's show, we are going to cover so many truths. We're going to focus on Isaac Kappy. He is going to be our person of interest today. But all of these truths, including everything that you've just seen in the video clip that we played before the show, including what I was speaking of in the riddle with the 4 presidents, it all leads back to the same place. All roads literally do lead back to Rome.
Literally.
Literally. And we are here to show you how all of those dots are connected. So as I said, we're going to start with Isaac Kappy, who may or may not have chosen to take his own exit. I personally have theories that perhaps he isn't actually gone from this earth plane at all. He just had to go underground. There are several things about the specific incident where he basically threw himself off of a bridge into oncoming traffic that shows a lot of telltale signs that if you know how to look clearly at what you're looking at, you can understand that that's not really what took place. For example, there are syringes laying there and wrappers to the syringes from the paramedics and the officers that were first on the scene that look a lot like what they would use when they hit you with adrenaline. Okay. Then there's also the vehicle in question that allegedly struck him that has no dents, no damage, no splatter, no nothing on it, nor is there anything on the road. So that doesn't make sense to me. And then there's also the cell phone. His cell phone was laying right next to him, and you can see on the police officer's body camera that he picks the phone up, puts it inside of a plastic bag and sticks it in his pocket. And then later on in the body cam footage, you see him handling another phone and putting it in with all of the evidence that they're collecting. And to me, it doesn't look like the same phone. So I think there was like a swapperoo thing that happened there. So I think
Yeah.
I personally want to believe that it's very possible that police officers, paramedics, people dressed like them, whatever, can help you to make a clean exit and go into some type of protective custody because you're in that much danger as a witness.
Yep.
And so I personally would like to believe that that is the true case and that he is still with us and still helping from behind the scenes. Do you have anything to say to that before we start showing some examples?
I feel like you're onto something. Like most of these deaths that don't make sense, they don't make sense for a fucking reason.
Exactly.
And the only way to keep someone like that safe is for everyone to believe he's dead.
Right.
You know? I
Right.
mean, we're in a war. This is dark to light. And people, yeah, there's no way to keep him safe unless everyone believes he's dead.
Yeah. I mean, that's the whole purpose of witness protection programs, right?
Mm-hmm. And I think there's a lot of them that are in it. A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do too. So I'm going to start with a clip for anyone who doesn't really understand what these secrets are that he was talking about. We'll just give you a little example here.
By the way, I'll just fucking out him. Jim Carrey called me up last week. I talked to him for 5.5 hours. He's like begging me to like get a deal with Q. Like he's afraid of the fucking brackets. I'm like, and it's just like yammering on with the crap, but like not owning up or doing anything fucking meaningful. Meanwhile, just lying to everybody. Guys, you are fucking cowards. You're going down. You're gonna fucking die. That's it. You're gonna die. If you ate kids, you're gonna fucking die. You can't get over that shit. That's a death sentence. You cannot fucking live. But what I'll tell you that you can do is possibly save your soul. You can save your soul, and I can help you save your soul. You will fucking die, though, so get over it. I know you all are afraid that you sold your soul, but I think you can get it back. You're gonna fucking die, though. That's it. How did Jim Carrey get my number? Because I gave it to him. Yeah, I talked to him twice last week. One for 3.5 hours. And by the end of it, I was like, oh my God, I hope I never talk to this pedantic fucker again. It was that, like, excruciating. What did Jim Carrey say? It was just him talking in fucking loops most of the time about the totality of your existence. He pulled a Betty Washam on me. He said that, like, well, because of me, I made way for you. I'm like, fuck you, dude. You did not do shit. You did not do shit.
Okay.
That was so intriguing. When I watched that, I'm like, okay, Jim Carrey was wanting Kappy to make a deal with Q. Does that mean that Kappy knows who Q is, or
No.
sounds like he's got some type of connection to the White Hats?
I
But
don't think that he had any connection to Q any more than anybody else that followed
Yeah.
drops. But
Yeah.
people like Jim Carrey and such that are on the outside wouldn't necessarily know that, because we all could spread this information once we did the research and know it so well and be able to deliver it convincingly because we knew it so well. There were people I knew that thought that I could get in touch with that team personally. And I'm like, no, you don't understand how this works. You know?
Yeah, I'm good, but I'm not that good.
Right. So I think that's where I think it was just a misnomer.
Gotcha. Okay.
But and his language is very harsh in how he was talking about Carrie and several people, and but what he's referring to are like the executive orders for
Mhm.
Trump put into place when he was in office the first time that have to do with how do you say it? Human it's violence toward humans, but I can't think of the right way that it was worded at the moment. It'll come to me.
Yeah.
But he signed an executive order saying that if you violated these basic human rights, right, which was to
Mhm.
like try to traffic people or harm them
Yep.
in
Yep.
horrendous ways, particularly if they're underage, that it's punishable by death. Like he signed an executive order stating that it should be punishable by death, right?
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
that's what he was referring to in this when he would say, you're just going to be, you know, not that he was threatening that he was going to harm anybody.
No, I was just saying you're gonna end up getting executed for the evil shit you've done.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Crimes against humanity. I knew it would come
That's
to me. I knew
yes,
it would hit
crimes
me.
against humanity.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's an executive order in place as of, I believe, 2017 or 2018
Sounds about right.
that says that it's
Mhm.
punishable by execution
Yep.
if you're found guilty of it. So that's what he meant. Now, I also want to share another little clip that I have. Not Seth Green. We're going to come back to Seth Green in a minute. Oh, goodness. Is it this one? No. I'll find it in a second. Here it is. I found it. Two-minute clip.
Okay.
Well, there's a lot of good people. Don't get me wrong. There's tons of good people, but there's a lot of people that can be corrupted. They can be bought off. There's a lot. It's sad. You don't trust Oprah? Oprah's a fucking slave trader, guys. You shouldn't trust Oprah. Oprah is a slave trader. Oprah is a slave trader. Let that sink in. It's 100% true. Oprah Winfrey is a slave trader. Why do you think she has that school in South Africa? Why does she hang out with who she hangs out with? Oprah Winfrey is a slave trader. How is she a slave trader? Does the name John of God ring a bell? There's a reason why Oprah is so powerful, and it's not pretty. What do we know about Hollywood? We know that you pretty much have to be compromised to be at a certain level in Hollywood. Who's at the top levels of Hollywood? This is not rocket science, guys. This is not rocket science. It's why they don't want the Fed to go down. Exactly. Exactly. This is why they attack Michael Jackson's legacy. Yeah, because Michael Jackson hated those fucking people. Do you think Michael Jackson would have loved Gabe Hoffman? Gabe Hoffman's he's gaslighting Paris now. Gabe Hoffman. The guy is a piece of shit. He's a Mossad agent and he's a piece of shit. And he works for literal slave traders. Gabe Hoffman, you work for literal slave traders. Threatening me, slandering me, pushing fake articles about me. Brown Brothers Harriman is a huge nexus point in the big picture. 100%. Brown Brothers Harriman, that's the whole Skull and Bones network right there. That's we're talking about hundreds of years. We're talking about British East India trade. They wanted MJ's Sony Music shares. Yeah, MJ owned the whole Beatles catalog. They wanted it all. You don't hear many people talk about it? Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Okay. So he actually, let me get back to my screen so I can see it. He actually dropped some real alleged truth bombs there, naming people. And John of God, for anybody that doesn't know, John of God is this man that Oprah had touted as highly spiritual, highly wonderful, all these stupid things. And then they found out he had a baby farm where he was holding some women captive and, you know, raping them on a regular basis, making them be pregnant so that he could then take those babies and put them on the black market.
Yep.
And I just watched this video. There's this mafia guy. I don't even remember his name, Casazi or something like that. I don't remember. Mafia guy that I watch on YouTube, and he's ex-mafia, right? He served like 30 years for it, but he has a podcast now on YouTube where he's like been interviewing Tim Tebow and people that worked with him that were the real action behind the Sound of Silence movie, right?
Yeah.
And I forget the man's name that he was interviewing that I was just watching the other night, but this man was talking about how this is such a prolific and huge resource worldwide, internationally resource, right? The trafficking of human commodities and how slavery is still a very real thing
Oh, hell yeah.
in so many ways. And he's like, but the real shocker of it is that the United States is actually where the majority of it happens. People actually come here from other countries to do
That's
this,
freaking mind blowing.
to make their purchases or do their acts or, you know, whatever. And that just blows my mind because I still believe with all of my heart that America is the greatest country in the world to be in, to live in, you know?
Yeah.
And I will always be patriotic toward our country. But
Me too.
let's face it, Babylon lives in our country right now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
She's went to hell in a handbasket. And it's time to do this, clean this mess up. First in our country, since it's clearly the worst, and then worldwide. And where we go one, we go all. Worldwide means so much to me and so many other anons because of this. Like, this is the reason that we are anons at our core. All of us. This is why
every single one of us.
It's for the whole humanitarian atrocities that are happening, you know, and specifically with children. And that's why the border was such a big deal, right? Everybody fighting to not close the border when Biden was in office, because that is a moneymaker for them. Let's keep in mind there were 380,000 children that came across that border without parents during the 4 years of Biden's illegal administration.
Yep, they were trafficked here.
And they have no account of where they are. And here's how this works. And Kappy knew, Kappy understood how this works. He had gotten into the meat and bones of it. He went down the rabbit holes just like we did. And what he was learning is that when the traffickers bring them across the border, they give them, the children, a piece of paper with a number on it. And they say, if they put you in a foster home somewhere and it's not this person specifically that we're saying you need to end up with, that you need to run away from the foster home and call this number so that we can come and get you. And because this is the only person that feels semi-safe to them, 9 times out of 10, that's exactly what these children will do, even if they're placed in a safe home.
Yeah.
So that's why they went missing, because they were instructed to from the get-go. And threatened also. Like, we know where your brother is, we know where your mother is, we know where your sister is, whatever. And if you do this and end up at this place here with this number, we're going to go hurt them. Right? And so the children were easily persuaded and compliant to this because they had fear that their siblings or their parents would be injured. And it's a sick fucking game. And this is why Kappy was so adamant about getting it out, but also because he was witnessing it firsthand with his friends, right?
Yeah.
Like Mr. Green,
Yeah.
you
You
know.
know, one thing I was curious about, do we know if Kappy was abused as a child?
We do not.
And you know, like, I'm wondering because I know that there's a lot of us anons, that this lights a fire in our soul.
Right.
And
Because it resonates on some level.
it does. And you know, I personally have never been abused, but maybe those of us who have not been abused, but it ignites our soul and we have to fight for this. Maybe we were in a previous lifetime. You know?
Yeah,
I don't
perhaps.
know. That's
Perhaps.
just something I thought about.
Perhaps. But I think also the ones of us that it didn't happen to as children or didn't happen to as prolifically, I'll say that, as
Yeah.
intense as some others, we're able to have a better level head for it to be able to go toward bringing the awareness and doing things that'll help prevent it in the future. Whereas Kappy was kind of a loose cannon with it. So
Yeah.
you actually bring up a very good question there and a very good point, because that makes me actually wonder if he didn't have his own personal experiences as a child, and that's why he kind of went off the deep end with it, because he was very out there with his stuff. And I don't mean out there like he seemed crazy. I mean out there
No.
he was so in their face and adamant about it. It was like he was double dog daring somebody to come at
Yeah.
him. You know?
Yeah. He basically he was. He saw
Yes.
things and was like, "Fuck no, we're not doing this. I'm gonna take you motherfuckers down."
Right.
That's what I think.
Right.
If it wasn't personal, it was just,
And
I don't know.
And too, it could have been personal for him on the level that he was witnessing his friends and colleagues in Hollywood doing these acts, participating in these acts. And he too was there and did nothing, right? Because that's why he would say over and over and over again, I did wrong. I did wrong. You know, I mean, yes, he would say, I'm not going to bring harm to myself, but I did do wrong. And the wrong that he did was the whole scenario of the people that are there and know it but don't do anything to stop it.
Yeah.
He was one of those people, right?
But what do you think he could have done? Like, busted open the door and grabbed a child and taken him to safety? I mean, I don't
Realistically,
know.
yeah,
Yeah.
realistically, there's not anything he could have done to stop it.
Right.
Because police officers and lawyers and judges and political officials and the feds and CIA people and all over the place, the tentacles are everywhere, right? So it
Oh
doesn't
yeah.
really matter where you turn, similar to Allie Carter, right? Because even with CPS, they're involved, right? On some levels within that system, they're involved. And so everywhere she went and tried to seek help, it wasn't getting her anywhere except told on
Yeah.
and brought back to the perpetrators, the original pimp, if you will, right? The original handler. So
Yeah.
realistically, there's not anything he could have done. But I can certainly see from his point of view how that would eat you up inside if you knew you couldn't really do anything about it and you just have to be there and be that bystander.
See that, but he,
Allows this, you know, because even some like Tim Tebow and people like him that work in bringing down traffickers and rescuing children, to some extent, they have to witness this shit go on.
Yeah.
In order to play it cool and lay low and get these people to trust them.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's got to be something that eats them up inside to
It
witness.
has. It has to.
Jesus.
But at the same time, they were you're talking about like Tim Ballard, The Sound of Freedom.
Ballard. Yes, that's what I
Yeah,
meant.
yeah. Like something has made him strong enough to be able to do this. It's
Yeah.
I feel like with Tim Ballard, for example, it's his sole mission. It's what he came to this earth to do.
100%.
Just like I feel like with you and me, this is what we came to this earth to do, to bring awareness.
Yeah.
I mean,
wake them up.
the trafficking has not affected my life at all.
Yeah.
But when I found out about it, it lit a fire under me that just couldn't be contained. And I'm at the point where I don't give a fuck what people think about me. I mean, until my face turns blue, I'm going to scream it on the rooftops, so to speak.
Right. Yeah. I want people to become aware of it so that we can end it, and
Mhm.
save the children. Inevitably, it's about saving the kids, saving the
Yeah.
children. Don't let this happen to anybody else.
Yep.
But I mean, I can't even, I don't want to imagine what it would be like to have to be one of those people sitting in a room witnessing this, or in the next room knowing what's happening,
Right.
and it even goes beyond that, because the whole Hunger Games thing and all that shit, it's all so real. Like it's all so real and so evil and dark, and like they can't even make scary movies that compare to it, So I can sympathize with where he felt
Oh, yeah.
guilty, and where it was eating him up inside, to the point that he was just, always out there tearing at it.
Well, that his final video, which was very cryptic, where he kept saying he did something wrong and he's, might not be around much longer. Do you think that's what he was referring to, is the did something wrong, is he didn't stop it while it was happening?
Yeah, I think so. I think the burden of this guilt really weighed heavy with him. And yes, you could argue that that would be a reason for him to want to take his own life and exit this earth plane, but I don't think that's what he was doing at all. I don't think that's why he was saying that. And maybe he just needed to say something like that to make it appear like he had a reason for exiting.
Right. But he also, in the same video, said multiple times that he would never do that.
That's true.
And it's like, it makes so much sense that the white hats got in touch with him and said, hey, we're going to put you over here we're going to keep you safe so you can testify against these sick fucks.
Yeah. I mean, he clearly knew a lot, right?
Yeah.
Now that's a great place to share this other video that's called The Hollywood Insider That Knew Too Much.
Okay.
Because he really did. He really knew a lot.
Mm-hmm.
This is by Hollywood Hell, if anybody wants to go to their channel.
Dive into the story, let me give you a quick disclaimer. What you're about to hear are just theories, a tangled web of events I've gathered from the deepest corners of the internet. Some details might be wrong, some things might be off, but this is how the internet has woven together the chilling tale of Isaac Kappy. As we unravel these mysteries, ask yourself, is this just another conspiracy, or is there something far more sinister at play? It started like any other day, scrolling through my Twitter timeline, mindlessly passing post after post. But then something caught my eye. A strange post from a page called Isaac's Army. You can run, but you can't hide. Was the fame and fortune worth it? I thought this must have been something to do with all the hype surrounding the Diddy case. It's the kind of thing you brush off at first. According to the internet, every celebrity's a pedophile, especially A-list heavy hitters like Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis. It's just another internet conspiracy, right? I didn't think much of it at first, but then I noticed the numbers. Isaac's army had over 300,000 followers, and that post had been viewed over 1 million times. Who's this Isaac dude with the Bob Ross haircut? I had to look into it. This is where things took a dark turn. Isaac Kappy had tragically died on May 13, 2019. The official report said suicide. He jumped off a bridge onto Route 66 in Arizona, only to be struck by a truck below. It was brutal, horrific, but it didn't make sense. His last small acting role was years before his death, so why did he have such a rabid fan base and accounts with his name to this day? There were only a few sentences about his death on Wikipedia. Besides this, there wasn't much info on him. Something seemed off, and it turns out something was off. See, Kappy had made it very clear to his followers in the months leading up to his death, he wasn't suicidal. He repeated it over and over again. "I'm not suicidal," he said in several videos.
I'm not suicidal. I'm not suicidal.
It felt like a mantra, like he was trying to convince himself, or perhaps send a message to those who might try to silence him. "I'm not suicidal. I'm not suicidal." Kappy wasn't just an actor. In the year leading up to his death, he had become something else. An internet figure wrapped in controversy and conspiracy. He wasn't making movies anymore. Instead, he was making enemies. Powerful enemies. In 2018, Kappy started using social media to make bold, disturbing allegations against some of Hollywood's biggest stars. The accusations were almost unbelievable. Claims that Steven Spielberg, Stephen Colbert, Bill Clinton, and many others were involved in a secret pedophile ring. Kappy wasn't just some guy spouting nonsense. He had followers. Loyal, devoted followers who believed every word. One of his most chilling accusations was against actor Seth Green, who Kappy'd been friends with for over 30 years. Kappy claims he was at a party when a random child came up to him asking for Green, which Kappy found highly suspicious. According to Isaac, Green later showed off a hidden room where he had dim lighting and a bed and said, "This is where we keep the children."
Seth turned to me and opened up this secret bookshelf, and he's like, "This is where we keep the children."
Kappy also alleges that Green invited him to join the Illuminati, stating that he would be given $250,000 a year as well as any car that he wanted. Seth allegedly also told Isaac that they needed to talk about, which is code word for very young children. It was here that Kappy claims Green exposed his pedophile secret, revealing that he likes to have sex with kids. Kappy took to the streets and exposed this to the public.
Because Seth, Claire, and I were having a dinner at their house, and Seth said we now need to have a talk about chicken.
The internet was buzzing. People were divided. Some called him crazy and mentally unstable, while others saw him as a whistleblower, someone brave enough to stand up to the dark forces controlling Hollywood. But these weren't accusations that would just blow over. The conspiracy was out, and Kappy wasn't done yet. Then came the bombshell. Isaac Kappy accused Tom Hanks, America's favorite actor, of being involved in this same shadowy network. Tom Hanks, the man who played beloved characters like Forrest Gump and Mr. Rogers, a pedophile? Hanks never responded, neither did Green. It was as if they didn't want to give Kappy's accusations any legitimacy. But Kappy's followers, they believed him, and they believed he'd crossed a line, revealing secrets too dangerous to be known. As Kappy's claims grew louder, so did the fear among his followers that something terrible was coming. Things took an even darker turn in the days leading up to his death. Isaac posted a lengthy, unsettling message on Instagram where he talked about betrayal, betraying those close to him, using people for money. He called himself a bad guy. Again, that theme of darkness, the one he'd been...
I just want to back that up for a minute.
Okay.
So we can maybe see that. That looks really blurry.
I tried to find the letter that he's talking about. I couldn't find it.
That theme of...
Here we go. It says, "Hello. Over the course of the last week, through introspection that should have happened many years ago, I have come to some stark revelations about my character. It is a testament to my utter arrogance that these revelations had not come sooner. You see, I believed myself to be a good guy. I have not been a good guy. In fact, I've been a pretty bad guy throughout my life. I have used people for money. I have betrayed many people and much trust. I have sold drugs. I have tax delinquencies. I have debts. I have abused my body with cigarettes, drugs, and alcohol. I have I have been abusive to people who loved me, including my family. I have expected help without putting proper work into myself. I have used money to gamble and lose instead of using it to further my gifts. Earlier this week, I committed an act so flippantly without thought that will become synonymous with short-sightedness and petty, vile greed, and in the end has cost me everything. I will publicly disclose the details at the right time. You see, while I supposedly wanted to make America great, I have not put much work at all into making myself great. I have wasted much money on speculation and gambling, and I have gambled away my future. Time that could have been utilized to nurture my many gifts have been wasted on frivolity. And while it's true, I have spent many, many hours of research and disseminating information about bad actors, I have had so little care for introspection of my own actions. It is a testament to my sheer arrogance that I have not come to these revolutions sooner. To the Q movement, I am so sorry I have brought shame upon the greatest military operation of all time. But really, I have only brought shame upon myself. And while it's true, I have outed many pedophiles that were former friends, I remained in their sphere for much longer than I should have, and attempted to gain from them after I knew about their actions. And in my sheer arrogance, I did not even reflect on this fact. I have been a great betrayer of trust, a squanderer of gifts and goodwill. Q says they will give people enough rope to hang themselves, and I have hung myself. I have told people in the Trump administration that I am willing to admit to my many crimes in a public setting and committed to execution if necessary in a public setting. A nation cannot suffer its traitors, and I am no exception. To those I have inspired, keep up the fight. It is a noble work. However, I have not been a noble man. I am an imposter. To those who have offered whatever, and I can't read the rest of it. But I mean, that kind of, let me just stop the share for a second. That kind of goes to show you really just where he was at in his mind, right?
Yeah.
Because he was very troubled by what he had experienced and witnessed and not
Of course.
anything to stop. But clearly something else took place in that last week
Yeah.
that we never
Yeah.
fill in the dots on.
Unless the White Hats helped him fake his death. I mean, that's the only thing that makes sense. I didn't, because, I listened to all this on my phone, and it's too tiny for me to read it. So I tried to find the actual letter online, and I couldn't. So I didn't read that. So this is my first time hearing it. And my intuition is screaming he's still alive. I hope I'm right.
Me too. Me too.
Because, I mean, yeah, haven't we all not abused our body with a little drugs and a little alcohol at some point?
Or something.
Haven't we all? Something.
Something.
A little gambling. I mean, we're human. He's human.
Yeah.
Nobody expected him to be perfect. He saw shit. He spoke about the said shit, and then he turned on his friends. That could not have been easy for him to do. He turned on Seth Green. He turned on all of them.
Right.
And started outing them online.
Right.
I mean,
and just to be clear, this is all alleged. This is all
for
Isaac
entertainment
Kappy.
purposes.
Yeah, this is for entertainment purposes only, and just to talk about mysterious exits and how dots are connected.
Yeah.
We do not know that any of these
No.
people that he has named are like 100% guilty of any of this, right? We don't know. We're just sharing information.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he didn't just go hard after people in Hollywood that he knew or he worked with. These were like friends of his, people he hung out with on the daily, right? Like, I mean, Seth Green was a good friend of his. He knew Seth and Claire very well, both of them.
For 30 years is what that video
Yeah.
just said, right?
Yeah.
That's a long time.
I mean, that's a lifelong friend. So
Yeah.
that's a big deal to suddenly just turn on such a friend. So you have to wonder what kind of truth there is to that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just on the surface, you have to wonder. Now, us,
Oh,
knowing
yeah.
what we know and doing the research we've done and the rabbit holes we've went down, we know that there is truth to that in Hollywood, in the music industry, in politics, in religion, in everything, right? It's in everything. It's in the education system. It's in everything. We see it. We know it. We've found it through research. But
Right.
one of the few things that Q would actually tell us to think about, other than, saying, go do some research over here and look into this so you can know more. One of the few things that he would actually, or they would actually say to us to keep in our mind was that we cannot blame everyone that's involved.
Yeah.
Because some of them were completely helpless in doing anything to stop it. Right.
Yeah.
And a lot of those people, and I think we said this on our last show, a lot of these people were blackmailed in some way or another, or their families were threatened, or their jobs were threatened, or something, which goes into a whole RICO thing. But who cares? Like,
Yeah.
I don't even
mean,
care
like,
about that right now. At this point,
if they
it's
can't
beyond RICO.
get you in a compromising position, then when your back is turned, they'll put something in your drink, make you go night night, and they will put you in a compromising position
A
and
lot of times
photograph
that's
it.
what happened. Yeah, a lot of times that is what happened with people. But other people, they would just threaten their job, or, threaten their money security, or their families or something, So
Yeah.
it puts you in a tough place, right? It puts people in a really tough position, and they do it that way on purpose.
Oh, yeah.
So that they can have you by the balls.
So they can control you.
Yeah. Because one way or another, you're going to keep your mouth shut about what they want to do. So,
And one of those videos on that playlist was somebody talking to Kanye, and Kanye was saying that he could say whatever he wanted because they didn't have, he said how do if I can remember correctly, he said they can control Shaq, they can control LeBron James, they can't control me. I hadn't killed nobody, I hadn't done anything. So I guess, according to what Kanye was saying, he didn't cross that line. They didn't catch him in any compromising positions to hold it over his head so he could speak out. You know?
Right. He didn't sell his soul to the devil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this whole selling soul thing, I don't think you can really sell it. You know? I think that's just a scare tactic of the cabal and
it's
getting desperate people to do things. Yeah.
All that really means is that you're willing to cross that line of morals and values, and once you cross that line several times, then it's hard to come back to the other side. That's where the whole selling
it taints your soul.
It taints your
Snuffs
soul.
out your life.
And not just that, but you can feel so guilty about things you've done that you don't think you have the right for redemption. You don't think you have the right to go back and be a justified moral person anymore, right? Like, you punish yourself. You put that hell upon yourself because of your own opinion of yourself. So that's where real healing and therapy comes in for people, because you've got to be able to forgive yourself for things that you've done. If you ever want true salvation, you've got to be able to forgive yourself. I'm all for going for Jesus's word on things, but Jesus ain't the one that needs to forgive you. You are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because at the end of your life, when all of that stuff flashes before your eyes, it's your energy that's judging that and weighing that.
Yep.
Nobody else's. because God loves everybody. God will forgive
Yes.
everything.
God's already forgiven us for sins we're gonna commit in the future.
That's
And
right.
I believe with everything I got that my judgment day, my heavenly Father will be holding my hand while I judge myself, while I
100%.
watch my life review.
Mhm.
And I mean, think about it. We humans are our own worst critic. When I look
We
in
are.
the mirror, I see my flaws. When you look at me, you don't see my flaws.
Exactly.
We're so hard on ourselves.
Yep.
And
For a
that's
reason.
just being human. Hmm.
It's for a reason. It's put
Yeah.
there on purpose because
Oh yeah.
we're not necessarily, even though we do care about what people think, we don't care about what people think. We're still
Yeah.
going to do what we do, right? At the end of the
Yeah.
day, everybody in the world can give me advice on how I should move forward, but I'm still
Right.
the one to choose how I move forward
Mm-hmm.
because my thoughts on it matter them more than theirs do. And
Exactly.
it's the same thing with judging yourself. Our
Yeah.
thoughts are going to matter more than, I mean, everybody in the world could be like, my dad actually taught me this at a very young age because I adored my father. And I'm the youngest of 7. And the other
Mhm.
children knew this darker side of him, right? He was a Gemini. He had a dual personality, the whole thing.
Okay.
They knew that side of him, and I didn't know that side yet. I was still too young and too innocent. And
Yeah.
he was very troubled by the things he had experienced and done in life, right? He judged himself all the time. And that's why he drank so much to kind of suppress
Okay.
that, bury it. And I remember sitting on his lap, 4 or 5 years old, and just beaming with love at him and saying, Daddy, I don't care what you've done. He was talking to me about, he's made a lot of mistakes in his life. And like, Daddy, I don't care what you've done. I think you're wonderful and I just adore you. And that's the innocence of a child, right?
Yeah.
But we do offer that love and that type of forgiveness to people, no matter who they are or what they've done.
Oh yeah.
We do. And my dad actually said to me, oh, baby doll, if you knew half of what I've done, you wouldn't feel that way about me. And I said, it doesn't matter what you've done. You're still my daddy and you're wonderful to me.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, he could have been the worst person in the whole world, but he's still
Right.
my dad. And
Yeah.
he never hurt me, So
Right.
it was different. It was different.
Yeah.
And we can love people that way, but if they don't love their self the same, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
You've gotta love yourself before you can fully love anybody else.
Yeah.
You really have to. And it's hard. And we're conditioned to believe that self-love is selfish, and it's not.
Right.
If you're on a plane and you're on a plane with your child, you got to put your own oxygen mask on first to
Yep.
put it on your kid. It's just, you got to carve out this time.
Instinctively, you
Yeah.
want to put it on the kid first.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But, I think we're starting to break out of that and learn that it's okay to take time just for you to learn to love yourself and to, get comfortable in your own skin. And I feel like that's part of the Great Awakening as well.
I do too. And I really hope
Yeah.
that's a good takeaway message for other people from this particular show that we're doing is
I
that
hope so.
it's important to love yourself and
Mhm.
forgive yourself for anything and everything that you've ever done that was terrible because
Yep.
we all make mistakes and we're all tempted in different ways. Nobody's perfect. And the fact that you can see where you have erred and come back from it is really what matters
Yes.
and shows true
Yes.
strength and true morals and value.
And is it really a mistake if you learn from it? Doesn't it just become a lesson?
Right. I mean, it can still be a mistake and a lesson at the same time, too.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
like if you've harmed someone else,
Oh, yeah. 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 Yeah.
that's a
Yeah.
ripple effect thing. But yes,
Oh, yeah.
also a
Yeah.
lesson. Definitely always a lesson too.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes.
And so
Absolutely.
yeah, we can't be hating on people. There's going to be a
Mhm.
lot of names that come out in the next year or so. Really, in the next 4 months, I feel like you're going to be hearing a lot of names publicly
Oh, yeah.
getting listed, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
We can't just have anger in our heart for all of those people. We've got to be able to have compassion for their and gratitude for their courage to come forward and to speak on what they know, because they're putting themselves at risk for outing themselves and their own mistakes,
Yeah.
and maybe even putting their life in danger for admitting about other people's mistakes that they're aware of. So
And a
we gotta
lot
have
of these
space
people.
for that.
Oh, absolutely. And a lot of these celebrities got in it very young and they never stood a chance. So they start off getting abused, then they get older and then they're expected to abuse, and they didn't mean to turn out to be monsters. They
Yeah,
never stood a chance.
right. And that actually goes for society as a whole. It's not just in Hollywood or just in the
Yeah.
music industry or whatever, because there are neighborhoods around this country where you can step outside and look at the houses on your block or down your road, and at least one house has children that are being abused on some level.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that's the truth. That's the sad statistical truth of the matter, is that this is
Mhm.
run rampant. And once you are a victim of this as a child, you're only going to go one of two ways with it. Either you're going to be an advocate that tries to end the vicious cycle, or you're
Mhm.
going to become a perpetrator because it was so normalized for you that you
Yeah.
are beyond even seeing where it is wrong.
Exactly.
So that's
Exactly.
a sad fact in the matter, unfortunately.
Mhm.
So keep in mind, definitely, viewers, that
Yeah.
a lot of these perpetrators were once victims.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I just want to real quick go back to that video with Kappy, because he says some really important things.
Okay.
Instagram, where he talked about betrayal, betraying those close to him, using people for money. He called himself a bad guy. Again, that theme of darkness, the one he'd been alluding to for months, came up. He was haunted by it, consumed by something unseen. But through it all, he maintained one thing.
I'm not suicidal. I'm not suicidal.
And yet, on May 13th, 2019, he committed suicide. Jumped from a bridge, they said. Witnesses tried to stop him, to pull him back, but apparently he leaped before they could reach him. How could someone so adamant that he wasn't suicidal end up dead this way? And then, the internet did what it does best. It filled in the gaps. Theories began to emerge, and they were disturbing. Kappy had been silenced, they said. He had gotten too close to the truth. And those in power, the very people he had accused, had made sure he couldn't say anymore. One of the strangest pieces of evidence that fueled these theories was a tweet from...
I actually just want to pause right there real quick to say that if you notice in that clip, they said that there were people that tried to pull him back as he threw himself off of the bridge. But also, in the same respect, there were people that drove past and on their dash cam recorded him standing there, and he was completely alone. So
Yep.
that doesn't add up either.
Intriguing. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
From Tom Hanks, posted just weeks before Kappy's death. The tweet showed a single glove lying on the ground along Route 66, the same road Kappy had died on just weeks later. The caption, "Historic Route 66. Roadkill?" For Kappy's followers, this was no coincidence. They believed Hanks knew what was coming, that this tweet was a message, a warning. And if that wasn't enough, Hanks posted again on the day Kappy died. This time, it was a handkerchief lying crumpled on the ground. Some believe this was more than just an innocent photo. In fact, it reminded them of another eerie detail. The deaths of high-profile individuals like fashion designer Kate Spade, who'd been found hanged with red scarves. Could this handkerchief be a symbol? A subtle nod to a larger, more sinister connection? The theories only grew from there. Kappy's followers pored over every detail, looking for clues, for signs. And to them, everything pointed to one thing: foul play. The name of the game is blackmail, Kappy said in one of his final live streams. They want something on you that they can hold over your head. They film it, and then they own you. The deeper Kappy dug, the more enemies he had made. And the more enemies he made, the more paranoid he became. Kappy admits in many of his live streams that he was a very flawed individual, ridden with guilt, that he was not without fault and had many demons of his own. One example of this was seen when he choked Michael Jackson's daughter during a game night. Yeah, you heard that right. Kappy was friends with Paris Jackson, but Jackson distanced herself after Kappy allegedly choked her during a night game. The incident drove a wedge between them, and in the months that followed, Kappy's behavior became increasingly erratic. He sent rambling, cryptic messages to Jackson, which many now see as cries for help. Was Kappy losing his mind, or had he stumbled upon something real? That's the question his followers continue to ask. They believe he was silenced before he could reveal more, that this death was no accident, but a carefully orchestrated murder designed to keep Hollywood's darkest secrets under wraps. Then there was Tracy Twyman, an investigative journalist who'd been circling around the same narrative as Kappy, one where the world's most powerful people were involved in secretive, abusive practices shielded from public view. Twyman didn't just stop at Hollywood elites, however. Her work pointed to a global system where media moguls, political figures, and business leaders were involved in these deeply sinister activities. For Twyman, these weren't just conspiracies. She claimed to have uncovered real evidence of these connections through leaked documents, encrypted communications, and coded messages that she believed were being used to facilitate these heinous activities. What made Tracy Twyman's story even more compelling and chilling was how closely her work aligned with Isaac Kappy's allegations. Both of them were pointing fingers at the same powerful figures, claiming that Hollywood's elite were not just turning a blind eye to child exploitation, but were deeply involved in orchestrating it. Twyman and Kappy were digging into the same dark corners of Hollywood, and both were very public about the threats they received as a result of their work. In the weeks before her death, Twyman told close friends and colleagues that she was being followed, harassed, and threatened. Her emails and social media accounts were reportedly hacked, and she had become increasingly paranoid about her safety. Yet she continued her investigation, refusing to be silenced. One of Twyman's most explosive claims was that she had discovered an organized network of YouTube channels being used to auction children to the highest bidder. According to Twyman, these channels used coded language and symbols, innocuous to the untrained eye, to advertise and sell children to elite clientele. She traced these channels back to powerful figures, including some involved in the entertainment industry, and even linked them to a specific location, Greenleaf Canyon Campgrounds in Arizona. This campground, Twyman claimed, was part of a larger network of places where these trafficking activities occurred. She believed it was run by individuals with deep ties to organized crime and the occult, men who used their connections to shield their activities from law enforcement. Twyman's revelations painted a terrifying picture, one where the same elites who controlled the media, Hollywood, and politics were also operating in the shadows, using their influence to carry out unspeakable acts. But as Twyman got closer to exposing the truth, the threats against her became more serious. She confided in those close to her that she was being watched. Her home was under surveillance, and she feared for her life. Then, on July 10th, 2019, just weeks after Isaac Kappy's death, Twyman was found, hanged in her garage. Her death was quickly ruled suicide, but to those who knew her and to the many who followed her work, it felt all too familiar, eerily reminiscent of Kappy's tragic end. Like Kappy, Twyman had made it clear that she wasn't suicidal. She had reportedly stated that if anything happened to her, it would be because she'd gotten too close to the truth. The timing of her death, so soon after Kappy's, raised immediate suspicions among her followers. They believed that Twyman, like Kappy, had been silenced, eliminated before she could reveal the full extent of her findings. Adding to the mystery were the cryptic messages Twyman had shared in her final weeks. She spoke of powerful people trying to intimidate her, using fear and psychological tactics to push her to the edge. She even described instances of mind control, suggesting that the very people she was investigating had the means to manipulate her mentally and emotionally. Whether or not Twyman's death was truly connected to her work may never be known, but the parallels between her story and Kappy's are hard to ignore. Both were outspoken, both made powerful enemies, and both died under mysterious circumstances. And in their deaths, they've become symbols of a growing movement that believes the truth is still out there, waiting to be uncovered. As Kappy himself said in one of his final broadcasts, the people who are telling you who to like are compromised. The people in charge of the media, the music, Hollywood, they're all compromised. In the shadows of Hollywood, behind the glitz and glamour, there are still whispers of the things Kappy tried to reveal. Blackmail, trafficking, corruption at the highest levels. Things that, if true, could bring down empires. Whether Isaac Kappy was right, or whether he simply became lost in his own web of darkness, may never be known. But one thing is certain: the mystery of Isaac Kappy's death continues to haunt, and the questions he raised about the hidden underbelly of the entertainment industry and the world's most powerful figures remain unanswered. As Kappy's followers often say, the truth will come out eventually. Whether it does or not, the eerie legacy of Isaac Kappy's life and death will continue to fuel speculation and fear. A cautionary tale about what happens when you dare to pull back the curtain and reveal the monsters lurking beneath.
And I'm going to have to just totally discount that because I think we're in a time now when we can talk about that and not have that worry upon us.
Right.
You know,
Oh,
and
yeah.
and I mean, we're not like trying to name names and stuff. We're just like sharing what other people are saying. And
Right.
definitely leaves a lot of questions when you've got so many people that are speaking out about the same things and then they are suddenly just gone.
Yeah.
It really makes the person go,
Oh, yeah.
And
Well, I mean,
interestingly enough, in a moment, I want to share a little end clip from this lady who's in Hollywood. She's friends with Seth Green, and she does an interview with him. And I'm not going to play the interview she does with him, but interestingly enough, he brings up these type of things, and you know, in a heartfelt manner, and talks about how, you know, this type of atrocity does actually happen in Hollywood, unfortunately, and blah, blah, blah. But she does a recap sort of thing at the end with some other guy. And I just want to play a couple of minutes of that because that's very interesting what they're saying. But go ahead with what you were going to say first.
I feel like a lot of these evil fucks have been dealt with behind the scenes, and we're looking at CGI and body doubles and things like that. I don't feel that our lives are in danger for talking about it. Dave Mustaine went on that 3-hour long interview speaking out about it. I don't think his life is in danger. I think we have, even though the world is very chaotic right now, I feel like we have moved into where it's safe to talk about this stuff and to bring it to light. In my humble opinion.
Right. And, you know, yeah. Humble and maybe naive opinion.
Maybe.
Myself included.
Yeah.
But I mean, I believe in our First Amendment rights. I believe in the right to speak, you know.
Yeah.
I believe in the right to protest. I believe in the right to tell your truth or give your opinion or whatever that may be. And this is still a free country where we should be able to do that, you know.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Like we're out there throwing accusations at people and pointing fingers and saying, go get these people and lock them up or whatever. We're just asking people to think, critically think, about all of these things, and how many times do things like this happen before it becomes mathematically impossible and not
Exactly.
just be a coincidence?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
because there's just too much of it. There's too much. Okay, let me share this
Yep.
little end clip here because I know you haven't seen this yet.
Okay.
So the video clip is Seth Green on psychedelics, robot chickens, and child abuse in Hollywood.
Good, easy target.
You're also waiting for, you hear people talk about their big break. You're also kind of always waiting for someone to open a door. So you're making yourself available to those people because you're waiting for that door to open. As much as there's really, really hardworking people in this industry who grind and grind, grinding does not necessarily equal success the way it does in other businesses or industries.
Talent doesn't equal success.
Right. There's a luck component or a person who comes into your life who has the power, which is.
I mean, I've worked with movie stars who are not the best actors, but for whatever reason, they're movie stars. It's crazy. And so I think that all of that stuff together does set itself up for people being taken advantage of. We saw that with the Me Too movement. We've seen that with, a lot of these exposés about children being sexually abused and taken advantage of. It doesn't surprise me. And I always say this, we've talked about this, so many sexual predators or this many sexual predators were found to be working at this amusement park for children. And it's like, yeah, well, no shit, guys. If you're a person, a terrible human being who likes children, wouldn't you try to get a job where children work?
Right.
I mean, you're not going to go get a job at, the I don't even know. I'm trying to
come up with a place where pedophiles don't like to go.
Yes, I'm trying to come up with a place where only adults hang out, Jeff.
Yeah.
Where are places where people I couldn't even say a strip club.
Jeff, you don't want to riff on this pedophile chat?
I was trying to figure out where children aren't allowed, and I couldn't. I don't know, like a rated R movie on a Wednesday on a school night.
Yeah, they're not going to work in a.
Okay. But you get her point, right? So
yeah.
Even though she did this interview with Seth Green, and he's speaking on the abuses that are perpetrated on children in Hollywood and such, in a heartfelt manner, right? Where his heart goes out to them. And I'm not saying his heart doesn't go out to them, right? That's not for me to judge. But at the end of it, in her recap, after he's already gone, and she's just discussing it with her buddies or whoever they are. She's really, because she's in the know. She's been in the loop in Hollywood, even though she's the behind the scenes people, right? She's the one usually behind a camera or conducting the interview with somebody or something like that, right? She's not an actress, but she's been in the industry for years. And she's seeing it. She's trying to bring this to the limelight, right? That this happens. And that there are ways that they manipulate children, particularly if the parent isn't with them in Hollywood, right? If you send your kid into the casting couch and you don't go in with them, you don't know what's going on inside that room.
No, you don't. You don't.
So, and same thing with pageants. I mean, pageants, it's so vast, where you're doing this, and that's why I hate the JonBenet Ramsey age group of pageantry for your children and stuff, because so many heinous things can happen to your children, and then you're dolling them up and putting all this makeup on them and stuff and making them look
disgusting.
Adult,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. It's just disgusting in itself.
I can't even wrap my mind around it. I'm I get on my fucking soapbox about shit like that because
I like it when you get on your soapbox.
I have 4 little girls, they're not little anymore, but I have 4 girls, and even my boys are pretty, right? They're good looking kids. So I just can't understand why anybody would want to dress their little kid up to look like that and parade them around for all of these people to see and post their
Mhm.
photos everywhere. You don't know, like even on Facebook, like don't be
Yeah.
putting your kids' pictures on Facebook
Fuck no.
and make it
My
public for all the fucking weirdos out there to be while they're staring at your baby's picture. You know?
my little niece and nephew are in town. I'm gonna take pictures. They will not go on Facebook.
Yeah, I mean,
They're
if you
for
want to put them on
my
Facebook, just don't make it
yeah.
public, you know?
Right.
Keep it to your
Right.
little small group of friends and don't be friends
Exactly.
with every fuck that sends you a friend request, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
make sure you know them people or you at least you vetted them in some way
Yeah.
before you just let
Especially
them
if you're
into
gonna
your
have
world.
yeah.
Stranger
Exactly.
danger is
Especially
still
if you
real.
yeah. Especially if you're gonna post photos of children. You know, like my children are my cats. So I don't care who sees my cats. Everyone should see my cats. They're adorable.
They are.
But you know,
I love
like
that one you put up today.
I know he was in a box, and that box is gonna have to stay on my bed forever now because he loves it. He's
So
my
cute.
true thing.
Yeah.
But no, I'm going to share the photos with my niece and nephew, with you, of course, with my coworkers that I know, with my family that I know.
Right.
But
People that
it's
you can
nobody
trust.
else's business. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like I ain't gonna throw my people's pictures up there just for the whole freaking
And
world to
just
see.
random question: how old did you let your daughter start wearing makeup?
Oh, you know, like once in a while I let them experiment with it when they were like 9, 10, 11, 12 years
Yeah, to play around the house and then
kind of
wash it off
play
before
and
you go somewhere.
practice.
Yeah.
But to actually wear it out in public, I think they were like 15 or 16.
Okay. I
Yeah.
think for me it was
That it
maybe
was
13.
moderate.
Yeah.
No,
I
I
think
wasn't
it
going.
was
Go ahead.
I think it was like a little bit of mascara and a little bit of eyeshadow at 13, but
Yeah.
not a full face of makeup till high school.
Yeah. See, I grew up in that era where Madonna was new.
Oh,
And so I wore a lot of makeup in the 80s, right?
I wear a lot
I
now.
had the big hair and the
Yeah.
purple eyeshadows and the eyeliners and the whole fucking mess, right? Like
Yeah.
I was it. I had it all. And I was 16 and I didn't need to be
Mhm.
running around in my half tops and mini skirts and my big hair. Like, I didn't need to be doing all that. So I don't let mine because I learned that's not a
Right.
it's not a good thing to do. It's not always
Right.
safe.
Mm-mm.
You know, it can turn bad. But yeah, I just think people need to if anything, us doing these shows, I hope it makes people think more about their own people and their own
Yeah.
life and their own way of looking at things. You know,
Hmm.
we can't save the world. We can't go take down the bad guys. We don't even know for sure who the
No.
bad guys are. We might have a good
No.
idea, but we don't know for sure. And
Well,
that's not our place or our job.
I feel it's our job to hold a high vibration, so we anchor this shit into the fifth dimensional frequency, and we help others shift by holding the light and holding the space. You
Yes.
know what I mean? That's how we save the world.
Yes, exactly.
But
That is
until,
how we save the world.
yeah, until we get that call from Elon, call me.
Right?
You know, until we
Hey,
get that call,
still waiting on that call, yo.
we can make some smart babies.
Right. Like,
He can fund us. Elon,
I'll donate
call
some
me.
eggs to a petri dish. Come on.
Yeah, me
That
too.
was what I forgot to say to you when I was talking about how it was like a business arrangement for him having his children.
Uh-huh.
A lot of his kids were made in a petri dish.
Well, cool. Then we can find a surrogate and I don't have to carry it because I don't really want to do that.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not, yeah. Yeah, I'll raise the kid, but like I don't want to grow it in my belly.
It was to me, that was like the most amazing thing being pregnant.
Really?
Yeah, feeling that life grow inside of you and develop and start to move and all that. Oh my God. It was like I was never happier in my life than when I was pregnant. Honest to God.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm a chicken shit. The first thought would be like, oh my God, this is going to hurt so bad.
I was scared when it came time for the birth part. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like with my first one, it was such a nightmare when I had her. Everything that could possibly go wrong went wrong, and we both about died, you know?
Yeah.
So then, and I got pregnant right away again with my second child. And by the time I got to the 9th month and was ready to have him, I was terrified and literally cried to my mother and said, I don't want to do this. And she's like, well, too late now.
You got no choice.
It's go time. But I'm like, I don't want to do this again. It was so scary. Like it was so scary. And then it was the easiest birth ever. I was like, well, shit, if they're all like this, I'll have 5 more. And then I did.
Oh, wow.
So be careful what you say.
Yes.
Because I really did. I had 5
well,
more.
I'll tell you this right now. I would gladly have 5 more cats.
There you go. But you're not spitting them out.
No, no.
It's a whole different world.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But yeah, I think if nothing else, we just need to hold the vibration. You're right. We need to hold that vibration and raise that frequency for the world, because there is hope. There is light.
There is. There is.
And even though we're bringing out these truths and atrocities, doesn't mean that we're trying to perpetrate negativity or any kind of dark energy on people. If anything, we want to give them hope that nothing can stop what is coming.
Nothing.
And
not a damn thing.
That it is going to be a really beautiful world very soon. It's already changing because
it is.
Yeah. And on that note, I think we should end our show with another fun music video.
Let's do it.
Of Kappy's.
Yay.
He's such a quirky, or what?
I love him. Like, I just
quirky soul.
Please be alive and please come hang out with us when all this is said and done,
Right.
Kappy. Kappy, call me.
Right? I would have loved to have been his friend.
Oh my God, yes.
He's so eccentric.
I love it.
I love that. Okay, check this out.
All right.
NYT ain't got nothing for me. I roll it up to smoke a little weed. Don't talk about RBG, yeah. Oh, they lie. Just a lot of fake news, a lot of fake news, yeah. We know that everything you do is a lie, guys. Why are you such fucking liars? Don Lemon is a bitch and you all know it. Don Lemon is a best friends with Jussie Smollett. This guy's just to grab your heartstrings. They're hoax perpetrators. Oh yes, they're hoax perpetrators. Fake news, fake hate, crimes, and cold town. Taking some bucks from it. What a bitch with an Adam's apple. Hey. They ain't got nothing but me. The NYT is bullshit. CNN, MSM, all of it. Motherfucker, are you so dumb that you will swallow it? No. Occasional cortex. Wow. I heard you got some dance moves, but your brain ain't got nothing much in it. Bill Maher in your red shoes. Is it suicide weekend for you? No. Oh my God, it's snowing in Calabasas. Bernie is a bitch, Epstein is formerly rich. 1221, take it away. Epstein Island burned away. Well, I used to feel the burn, used to feel the burn, but then I grew a little bit of insight and realized that guy was stealing all the houses all over the world. Are you tired of winning? Are you tired of winning yet?
Oh, that was great.
I mean, he's not the best singer, but
Still,
God love him for putting his heart and his soul into his music, right?
girl. And you see, if he is alive, I really feel when this is all said and done, we all need to start a band. So, Isaac, help me. Auto tune, man. We got this. We got this. Yes.
Hell yeah. I'll be a backup dancer and a singer.
Girl, I got
I got some
moves.
moves.
Yes.
That would be great. That would be epic. 100%.
Oh my
That would be
goodness.
so epic.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Parting words for the audience.
That video
on the
was fucking
spot.
great. That video, no, that video, I love it. We're gonna have to, you're gonna have to send that to me, and that's gonna be my alarm clock noise every morning.
Okay.
Please like, please share. We need some more subscribers. Help us get to 1,000. Come on, help your girls out. We're out here spreading truth. Help us get to 1,000 subscribers. Please comment. Like, even if you just comment gibberish, I'm pretty sure it would still help the algorithm. And, you know, that's what we need. The more we pump up that algorithm or whatever the fuck, the more people get the truth. And that's what this is about, the truth. Because we are waking you up to truth.
That's right. Mic drop.
Mic drop.
Peace out. Catch y'all later. Thanks for watching.